What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fizzy, where I find a way to make real money and document my journey along the way. Stay tuned. Alright, before we get started, let me just make sure that I have everything working smoothly as it is. And I think everything is good. I hope I'm not lagging because the lag issue was resolved last time. Yep. Okay, looks good to me. Alright, so welcome to the third episode of the show, and let's just dive right into it. First thing I want to talk about is welcome you to the show. So thank you for joining. The next thing is what I plan to do to make money. So you know what? I've come to realize that in the process of me doing that 20 idea method again for continuously doing that, following up with that process, I came to realize that the problem that I'm trying to solve is worded in such a basic way that it is inciting basic solutions. So as you guys know, I've written down more and more solutions over here in my book, and as it comes up. And again, I was having the same issue of I would write down a bunch of ideas, but those ideas would be really basic, like something so simple like supply something to a buyer somewhere, right? Or like a solution that I had was to provide something for someone with a lot of money. That's literally written here in the book over here. So I realized that okay, that's fine. If my brain is talking in a language of if my brain is talking in a language, in a simple language of do this or do that, do one thing, period, do that thing, period, then that means the problem it's trying to solve is the issue. It's too simple. And the problem that I'm trying to solve is literally make $100 a day. Now that's true, that's good as an overall problem, like overall general problem, is just too generic when it comes to executing actions. And I said that in the previous episode as well. Since I identified that, I've been trying different ways to redefine the problem and make it more detailed. The first way I tried was to add some backstory to my problem and my ideas. So, in a way, I decided that okay, maybe now the way I'll try to, this is also something that, you know what, fuck it, I'm rambling over here. This fucking speaking shit, yeah. All right, so let's redo that. Because the ideas that I was writing were too basic, I realized that the problem that I was trying to define must be too basic. So then I tried to switch things up. I added a new method of adding details to the ideas, and that detail is what I talked about in the last video. The last video I said that I'm gonna start writing 20 ideas and more than 20 ideas, and every idea I'm going to add more detail to it. And I did just that, and the result of that were ideas like this. I added more detail, and the details, as I wrote down a lot of ideas, like you can see over here, as I wrote down more and more ideas with that new requirement, these are some of the things that I came up with. You know, if someone is rich, then provide them with a service so they can become more rich or they can be less rich. Obviously, they want to be more rich. So in that scenario, another example is if someone is seeking attention, so then do something for them that increases their attention or decreases their attention, whichever they want. If someone, so as you can see, the pattern with this new addition was that if someone is input anything, doing something, wants something, then do something for them so that whatever they want either increases or decreases. So as you can see, these are still more detailed than these solutions are more detailed than the ones before. And as I did more of these, I still felt that, these ideas, while they're more detailed, they they seem to be describing a generic forest with more generic things. So then again, these ideas are not executionable, right? Is that a word? Executable. Let me just check. Yeah, these ideas are not executable, which is a requirement of that every idea should be like at least one of the ideas should be something that I can execute. So I did that. I wrote down these ideas, and I realized that with the result that I came up with, these ideas are not something that I can execute. And I'm rambling again. This live scenario is great. Shooting videos live is great for public speaking and getting that practice in, getting those reps in. So since these ideas are still not something that I can execute, I thought to myself, after like going through this exercise a few times, I thought to myself, you know what? If my ideas are being so generic that I cannot execute them, maybe the problem that I'm defining is too generic. So because my brain is trying to solve a generic problem, it's coming up with generic solutions to those problems. And what is that generic problem? The generic problem is make $100 a day. Okay. So then I dove deep into, then that led me down to the thought process of how do you actually define a problem? That's what I try to figure out now. The question in my mind was, if the language of my problem that I'm defining is the issue here, then how do I define a problem? How do I word the problem in a specific enough way that I can define it so that my brain will then come up with ideas that are specific on that same level of specificity of the problem that I define. And that led me down a completely new rabbit hole of trying to learn how to define problems. And after much research, I came across this methodology that, and it's something, this methodology, I'll leave the link down below for the video for a full description because the person describes it so well. Effectively, the methodology is to shift your mental language into something like this. So if you have a problem, say in our case, it's something like a problem is, okay, our problem is what? Make $100 a day. Find a way to make $100 a day. Then what you do is, and now here's a new methodology that I came across. So then what you do is you rephrase that and you say to yourself, how might I make $100 a day? And then you list down the ideas, whatever comes to your mind, right? How might I make $100 a day? And what you do, and then you list down the possible ways. It's almost like the reverse of the 5 why methodology, the reverse of the root cause analysis, which we are so familiar with because we're engineer. So it's the reverse of that. So you list down how might we come up with $100 a day, right? So then I literally did that over here. So what I did was, just as a trial, what I did was, let me just open the right page over here, because this is nice. Yeah, so I started with a problem statement. How do I make $100 in a day? And then, oh, I'm so sorry, I fucked up. See, this is why I have the link down below. Um, so what I just described is the second step of the process. The first step, the very first step of the process is you define the problem. How do I make $100 in a day? And then you ask yourself, what's stopping me from doing that? So that's exactly what I did. I asked myself, how do I wrote the problem, how do I make $100 in a day? Then I asked myself, what is stopping me from making $100 in a day? And then I answered that question, right? In all the things that I thought are stopping me from making $100 a day. So I wrote 10. I just did 10, because I'm already in that mode of like listing at least 20, 40 ideas, exercise in one go and whatnot. So I wrote down 10 items that I think are stopping me from making $100 in a day. And I came up with things like, I don't know how. I don't know how to make $100 a day. I don't know anyone who can consistently give me $100 a day. I don't know any skills worth $100 a day. I don't know the process of making $100 a day. I'm not born into an environment or a family that, will allow me to make $100 a day, or like that makes $100 a day. I don't have assets to make $100 a day. I don't have the reputation or the brand to make $100 a day. I don't know the people with whom to make $100 a day. I don't know what I don't know to make $100 a day. I don't have the traffic to make $100 a day. So I answered that question of what's stopping me from doing this. And that was such a fucking different frame of mind, because now I'm not trying to answer the question of how do I make $100 a day. I'm answering the question, what the fuck is stopping me? So I'm removing the hurdles. I'm assuming that I have already made $100 a day, or I'm assuming, which it's true anyway, I know I'm on my way to make $100 a day. What is stopping me from doing that? So I've created this pathway, and now I'm removing the obstacles and answering those questions. I'm identifying the obstacles. And then I picked one, which I thought the most relevant. Well, this is again following the methodology. You pick one of those things that are most relevant, or rather would have the most impact. In my case, the solution that I picked to the question, what's stopping me from making $100 a day? The solution I picked that I came up with is that I don't know how to make $100 a day. And then the next step of the process is you pick that step, and then you convert the language. This is the second conversion of the language that you do. Is you turn that solution that you come up with, or like the reason you came up with as to why you're not in the position you must be. You take that reason and then you rephrase it into a solution, into something like how I might figure this out. How might I figure this process out? How might I figure this out? So that's the language. Remember, language is a key, right? That's the phrasing, and language defines where your mind's focus is, and hence defines what solutions your mind is coming up with, or the level of detail your mind must come up with. So, in my case, what I did was I said that I don't know how to make $100 a day, and then I converted that language into how might I know how to make $100 a day, right? Now I'm trying to figure out, okay, I have this problem. How might I solve it? Fuck. How could I? Like, what would I need to solve it? So my own solution became my own question that I must focus on, which is how might I know how to make $100 a day? And then I asked, and then I took that same question, how might I know how to make $100 a day? And I again went back to the first step, which was to ask myself, what is stopping me from from being in that state or doing that thing? So I did is, what is stopping me from, so my, again, I'm rambling. That just means I'm getting excited. So my question is, my solution was that I don't know how to make so my question was, how do I make $100 a day? And then my answer was, I don't know how. And then I converted that into the next question, how might I know how to make $100 a day? And then I asked myself, what is stopping me from knowing how to make $100 a day? Now Again, I redo the whole coming up with the ideas to answer this solution. So it's like, what's stopping me from knowing how to make $100 a day? Then I answered myself, the experience. So now I'm focused on knowing. What do I need to know? What is stopping me from that knowledge? I answered myself, the experience of having made that $100 a day, the content and the courses online that teach me how to make $100 a day, a tried and tested method that has been done to make $100 a day. These are all the things that stop me from knowing how to make that. And then I picked one of those. So I picked the first one, the experience of having made $100 a day. That is what's stopping me from knowing how to make $100 a day. And I took that and then I rephrased it into, how might I gain the experience of having made $100 a day? And then I went on to say things, trying new things, mastering the process. And then I asked myself, what's stopping me from gaining the experience of making $100 a day? Not knowing. So then you see how in root cause, you see how this is the inverse of the root cause analysis, because in root cause and 5 why, you are effectively asking yourself questions as to why is this happening, what is the root cause of this, if a situation is fucked up like this, what was the action that resulted in that, and what was the action that caused that, what was the action that caused that, what was the action that caused that, and then you answer all those, resolve all those questions, resolve all those issues to resolve the overarching problem. This is a reverse of that. This, instead of asking 5 whys, you are asking, what's stopping me from doing this, and how might I know how might I be able to do this or resolve this? And you keep doing that a bunch of times. So for me, for me, just by doing this exercise, I just did it once and I was surprised at how detailed and different the problem came to be, the language of the problem came to be, and just how different solutions I came up with. So I started with, so just a quick summary, because this is quite a bit of writing over here. So just a quick summary on this methodology, on our specific problem. We started off with our problem of, how do I make $100 in a day? And then that converted into, what's stopping me from making $100 in a day? That converted into, how I might know how to make $100 a day. That converted into, what's stopping me from knowing how to make $100 a day? That converted me into, how might I gain the experience of having made $100 a day? That converted into, what's stopping me from gaining the experience of making $100 a day? That converted into, how might I know what is stopping me from gaining the experience of making $100 a day? That converted into, how might I know that an action is not related to selling items worth $100 a day? And that converted into, how might I hold up. Yeah, that converted into, how might I talk to and identify people and customers who want to buy $100 a day item? That, and that's the question now. So we started off with a general problem statement of, how do I make $100 in a day? And by, I think, 4 or 5 iterations, we came up with this problem of, how might I identify and talk to customers who want to buy $100 a day item. Right there, it has so much detail, in the sense that now the picture this problem's painting is, first of all, I have to figure out the customers. So, okay, how do I do that? And then these people must be people who want to buy something consistently, and that buying something must be worth $100 a day. And if I solve this problem right here, then my initial overarching problem of, how do I make $100 in a day, will be resolved. So you see, this detailed problem is, one detail and one detail and one detail up. If I solve this detailed problem, it will solve that overarching big problem of, how do I make $100 in a day. With this, I think I'll define the problem statement in a much more detailed way. And then As I do that, that problem statement is what I will what I will work on answering using that whole 20 idea method. Because I think if I have a well defined problem, then the solutions my brain will come up with, they would be well defined solutions. And if my brain comes up with not well defined solutions, then I can just scrap them, which is okay. It's fine. Like, they can come back in a different form. My brain can process them back in a different form, in a better form. It's just my brain would know what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. Right now, all the ideas that come up in my brain, everything seems acceptable, everything seems unacceptable. There's no, because we don't know, like, we don't know what we don't know. So my brain is getting caught up by running around and all these things. It all is thoughts, it all this thoughts, that I have to swim in. So what I plan to do after all of that, you know, what I plan to do is to implement this. I don't know what to call it. This, if it's the reverse of, hold on, pause right here. I want to figure out what to call this problem. What's stopping me? So what I plan to do is to implement this what's stopping me method of defining problems. I want to implement it and do it like multiple times throughout the day, and every interval is going to be 10 repetitions. So 10 what's stopping me, and 10 how might I. So you see, one pair of what's stopping me and how might I, that's one rep of the whole set of 10. And then I'll do those sets multiple times in a day. So, well, I don't know, let's just come up with like three times in an hour. So yeah, I don't know how long it'll take, but yeah, let's just say 3 times an hour. If I have more time, I'll just do it more. So I want to redefine the problem of how to make $100 in a day. I want to redefine that using the what's stopping me method, and come up with a well defined problem that I will answer using the 20 idea method. So that's what I'm planning on doing. So it's going to sound weird, but maybe it's like in the process of ideation and in the process of thinking what business to start or how to make that money. If the first process is the problem statement, the second process is the thinking of idea, the third process is execution, and all of them are like going in a circle anyway, like 1 2 3 1 2 3. It's all like linear. It's always a circle. So one, so you're like, what is the problem, what is the solution, what's the execution, what's the feedback, and then you keep going in a circle. So I started from the solution. Now I'm actually shifting my focus into the problem section and trying to figure out the problem here. As a result of all those that figuring out, I believe I will have a problem statement that is well defined, or multiple problem statements that are well defined, which I will then implement. Well, those problem statements which I will then answer or try to answer using the 20 idea method. I just realized that I combined two sections in one over there, because I also talked about what I did today to make money, and what I plan on doing to make money. So that's great. So that's what I plan on doing to make money. I plan on using the what is stopping me methodology to explain in detail the problem statement that I'm trying to resolve. And then the next step is going to be that I come up with ideas for that problem statement using the 20 idea methodology. Now, moving on to the next section. Good thing about myself. You see how I didn't fuck up the segments over there? That's because I have finally taken notes. Anyway, I'll talk about that in just a sec. Let's talk about this segment for now. Good thing about myself. Well, I'm hardworking. Fizzy, you are hardworking. It takes, and it always did, always took you 10 minutes to understand what someone else understood in 1 minute. And, just give me a second here. I want to gather my thoughts because I'm looking at my notes over here that I made, and just want to make sure I cover all the points over here. Okay, yeah. So, yeah. Fizzy, you are hardworking, you are tenacious and gritty. It always took you 10 minutes to understand what other people understood in 1, 2, 3 minutes. It never was a matter of you being smarter than anybody, because you know what? Fuck it, you never were. I don't think we were as smart. We are, however, and always have been, people who put in the fucking hard work. Out of most 99% of the people, if not 100%, we are the ones who work the hardest, work the smartest. We are the ones who come up with new solutions to solve problems. We are the ones who put in the reps. It took us 10 minutes to understand what the other person took 1 minute. We did it 10 times to get to that level of that one person, 1 minute person. So we put in that effort. We put in the fucking hard work. And the journey along the way always gave us more things than the person who understood things in 1 minute could ever even imagine. So that tenacity of not giving up and bouncing back after you have fucking eaten dirt and coming right back at it with the punches to throw while eating those punches, that tenacity, that grit, that hard-working characteristic of yours, Fizzy, that is the one good thing, well, one of the good things about you, and about us for that matter. And now let's talk about the next video improvement. Holy shit, I'm getting good at this. I still have to check my laptop to make sure I have everything is running smoothly, because I can't see it right now. So forgive me if this is a little scrappy. I like it. Hey, this is it. This is me. This is you, Fizzy. This is us. All right. So before we go on into the next video improvement, we'll talk about what we did for our previous, the improvements we did since our previous video. And that is really, we created templates in TickTick, and we we prepared some talk points for the show, and we prepared them so that, we know what to talk about, and we can just focus on delivering the talk. And that's exactly what we're doing here. We have our phone, like, with our notes over here that I keep referring to, and it's been super helpful. It has streamlined the process. It does require some work it does require some preparation beforehand. While we're running the show, though, while we're doing the diary vlog thing, it's extremely smooth. I feel at peace, frankly, because I can just refer to the notes, understand what I'm going to talk about, and then talk about it. And this is the stuff that I wrote, that I know, so it's so easy for me to talk about it. It's so much better than me trying to remember what I'm going to talk about while I'm talking. So that's great. That's the video improvement we did from last video. The next video improvement that we plan to do is, I think we're going to redo the sequencing of the segments to make the flow smoother. And I don't think we're gonna create a new sequence. We're really gonna rearrange the segments. For example, the first segment, as right now, as it stands, the first segment after the welcome is that what I plan to do to make money, followed by the good thing about myself, followed by the next video improvement, and then we talk about what I did to make money yesterday. In reality, I can just put these segments together, what I plan to do to make money, and what I did yesterday to make money. We can just start off with those two segments together, and then we can just talk about the next video, the previous video improvement, and the next video improvements, and then just go on into good thing about ourselves and who is Fizzy. Maybe we can combine those sections together. So you see what I mean? Just streamline, like resequence those segments so that when we talk, it just flows more naturally because it makes sense. It makes sense for us to talk about what we did about this thing yesterday and what we are going to do about this thing tomorrow. What we did about this now, what we're gonna do about it tomorrow. Just like that. There's no need to break that up. Now, that's the next video improvement. The next segment is what I did today to make money. And like I said, we already talked about that in this section, what I plan to do to make money. So just refer back to that section, fuck it. Who gives a fuck? It's our live show. It's our show. That's the good thing. The next thing is, the next segment is, who is Fizzy? Like we said in in one of the earlier sections, Fizzy is undying. We are undying. The next section we're going to talk about is software. Again, the software is TickTick because that is what we are using right now, and a lot of it, we use so much TickTick. And in TickTick, what we came across, well, we knew about it. What we implement really what we now implement is the template feature of TickTick. And that template feature is what we're using to create our notes regarding the show in TickTick. So we write down these. So what you see over here, I don't know if you can see it, but all of that is a template that we created for this episode, for this show, and that specific one is for this episode of the show. And we're just gonna keep, since we have the template created, now as we go throughout the day, as we think about things, we can add them to the template and just make quick notes of it and then analyze them later on before we talk about them in the show. That's exactly what we did today, and it's turned out to be great. And so that's the template feature. If you want to know how to make a template in TickTick, I can show that. Why not? Fuck it. I can show that. I can really show that. You just basically define a template. It's like a couple of clicks. You go into a section, then you go into a setting, then define a template, then create the template based on the segment of the show, and then you use that template to create a task in TickTick, and then when you've created a task or a note, either one, once that task or a note is created, then you just add your points, custom points, specific points throughout the day into that task or note, and that's how you create a template and use that template in your use case. That's the software section. The next thing we're going to talk about is how to define a problem. So honestly, the next section is questions and answers. And what we're going to talk, the question is how to define a problem. Well, this is a convenient question that I found over the internet, and it's good because the thing is, it also, like, I was already answering this in my previous segment of how I'm defining problems. So that's what I'm doing now. The answer to this question, you can refer back to my earlier segments, because honestly, that's how I'm defining problems now. I have different ways of defining problems, but those are more engineering related, which are good too, which are great. For business related problems, I'm using this methodology to try and figure out how to define problems. So the answer to the question, how to define a problem, refer to my previous segments. Now, the last segment is remarks. And you know what? The first thing I want to do before I go into that segment is I want to take a sip. I want to take a sip because my throat is fucking dry. This talking thing is really dry on the throat. So I've been talking for a fucking half an hour. So you know what? I'm just going to get some water real quick. Be right back. Welcome back. So, you guys remember Leo? He's still here. I just wanted Leo to say hi to you guys, and I wanted you guys to say hi to Leo. So, let me just take a sip real quick. You know, for remarks, honestly, lately I've been thinking about this quote by Alex Hormozi, and it's kind of crazy how I find myself lately watching his content. You know, I respect him. Obviously, I like him. I've never met him, but I respect what he does and all that stuff. In fact, he has a lot of things that I am aiming to be. So that's great. He said this. He said this thing, this quote, and the quote goes like this: "Win so big that you forget about them, and they wanna be like you." And I swear to God, this fucking quote has been hitting me hard, especially lately because I've been getting mad at people and people have been pissing me off, especially with my knee injury. It's coming, it's really, you know, I mean, I always knew this reality of life. It's just, there are some people, it's obvious to me that, yeah, obviously, some situations and people are simply out there for themselves in that situation. It doesn't matter how injured you are or whatever. And it's not like I'm looking for that pity or whatever. It's just it always still irks me when I see that in front of me, and that's fine. So initially my thought process was like, fuck this, fuck these people. I'll show them the I'll show them that I'll be fucking successful. Fuck these people. Then I thought of Alex Hormozi and his code. It just came up out of nowhere in my brain, and really, what that code said was, like I said earlier, just now, is that win so big that you forget about them, and they wanna be like you. And that forget about them part, that really fucking, like, the magnitude of my success and me forgetting that they exist, that is the ultimate revenge. And that just fucking, that kind of freed myself from the emotional chain of me associating with those people that piss me off and, not do me wrong, but who say, like, who doubt you or bring that negative kind of energy. So that forgetting that they exist and winning so big, that really stuck in my head, and that's what I'm implementing. Well, rather, we're implementing again, kind of thing. That's what I'm doing now, where it's like every time I come across someone who I see is just out for themselves in a negative, in a bad way, and like it's just bringing that negative energy for me, in the sense of like putting me down or not providing constructive feedback or helping me succeed, and just there like wishing negative and just being negative. I am actively now imagining that I have become so successful, and that I just forget about them, and they want to be like me. I mean, they want to be like, wanting to be like me is whatever, out of my control. I don't care about that part. I actually care about the part of me forgetting about them and winning so big. I'm not winning because of them. I'm not winning for them. I'm just winning because I must win. That I'm on my trajectory to win, and I'm forgetting. I have forgotten about those people. So that that's the actual victory, and that's fucking crazy because it's extremely freeing. My mind, I can feel the freedom. I still feel angry. I mean, obviously, I still do feel angry when I come across these experiences. Just now, it's like I feel that, after that anger is passed over, or while go over that anger, I don't force myself. It's just I feel free when I remind myself that, you know what? Like, you'll forget about them anyway, so fuck it. You're gonna forget about these people because you'll be so big. You'll be busy with your shit. So, yeah, you'll literally forget about them. And once when you forget about someone or forget about these things, they don't bother you anymore. That's truly when you're not bothered about something or someone, is when you forget about it. So that's it. Yeah. So that's one major thing, one major remark. The other the other major remark that I have is, that I've been thinking is that, everybody's done jobs. Everybody. Like, everyone that I can think of, every social media star, everyone who's successful has done jobs. Joe Rogan was fucking serving waiter at tables and all that shit. He was a fighter in judo. He was fighting. I don't know if he was making money from his tournaments, but yeah. Who else do I have here? I have a bunch of people written over here. Alex Hormozi, who was doing a job before he did his business, gym business launches. Elon Musk was doing jobs, odd jobs, to pay his rent and all that stuff. Steve Jobs was doing jobs before he became before he founded Pixar, and he was at Apple before he founded Apple. Before the first time, before he was at Apple, he was doing jobs. Andrew Tate was doing jobs. He was a fighter by profession, which is pretty much a fighting career. You're not really an entrepreneur. It's a job. Being a fighter is extremely hard, and extremely, I respect it so much. So it's still a job, right? And he also did sales jobs, him and his brother, and they were doing like sales jobs and doing all these odd jobs before they became big. Warren Buffett was doing jobs before he bought Berkshire Hathaway, or maybe even while, I'm not sure, but I know definitely before he did job. He was working in the financial industry for a few years. Patrick Bet David, I think his last name. Patrick Bet David was doing jobs before he founded his company. Jeff Bezos was doing jobs, I think, while or before he founded Amazon back in the 90s. There's another guy who makes these skits that's slipping my name. Let me just find his name real quick over here. He makes the How Rich People versus Really Rich People act. Nicholas Crown, that guy. Yeah, yeah, Nicholas Crown. Nicholas Crown was doing jobs before he became successful. So, how many of those people have I listed? Mark Cuban was doing jobs before he became successful. Who else? Kevin O'Leary, and there's a reason why I'm being so specific and thorough with these people. I'll tell you the reason in a bit. Kevin O'Leary was doing sales jobs before he became successful and found his education company, the first one that he sold. Lori from Shark Tank was doing jobs. Robert, I forget how to say his last name, Hryevich. From Robert from Shark Tank, he was doing jobs. Everybody was doing jobs as an employee for someone, and many of them did multiple of these jobs. They didn't just like quit it and leave. Some of them did, but the chances of those people are like low. most of these people did jobs, and then the story goes, the public story goes, they were doing jobs and then they had the company, right? That they have now. Well, we know the reality of these things. When you're doing, if they had a company, it means they were working on the company for, some time, months, years before the company became public and all that stuff. Meaning, while they were doing jobs, these people were working on the companies that they built, and then they left the jobs with and jumped into their company right away. Hold on, give me a sec. I want to make sure this. The fuck is wrong with my finger? Swear to God, if this knee injury causes a problem with my finger because of the cane, I'll fucking burn the world alive. Okay. Anyway, all these people had jobs. So I would just, the reason I'm being so specific and thorough with it is these are all the people that you see, and out of like Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Warren Buffett are the people you look up to, Mark Cuban, and it's or those are the people you look up to, and all the other people that show up in your feed, and these are all successful people, and it's easy to think, and this is how social media paints it, that these people are so successful, they've been like this forever. Social media makes it feel like these people have been like this forever, where they just quit their fucking jobs and never did a job and just started a company and bam, it worked, or they worked really hard without a job and they kept, eating shit until they made their business, which is true. They did eat a lot of shit. They did it while they were working for someone else. That right there. They ate shit while being paid for it by someone else. That's exactly what they did. And that's just to remind you that, that's what we were thinking about, that everybody's done a job. So we're doing a job right now. And we know that it's for cash flow purposes. So that's good. There's no need to feel bad about it, Fizzy. When you see this in the future, Fizzy, understand and remember that you were doing jobs to sustain the cash flow for trying to figure out ways to make real money. In the future, when you see this video, remember that. And that's the last remark that I have to say. And let me just make sure everything is smooth over here, and I've said everything that I need to. Yeah, perfect. And with that being said, thank you for watching. Thank you for staying, watching through this whole show of fucking 48 minutes, and basically it's an hour. If there were ads playing back in the day, I guess. But yeah, thank you for watching, and Fizzy. Thank you for watching. If you found any of this stuff useful, sure, like, subscribe, be notified when I make these videos. And Fizzy, to you, keep grinding, keep working smart. You are working smart, keep working hard. You're already working hard. Keep doing what you're doing already. And remember that your success is already written in the stars. So you're working over here already. So when you look at these videos from the future, and when you see these videos, remember that you are and have put in all the fucking shit that you have into this. So never feel bad if you do feel bad when you're successful. That's all I have to say. May all your goals come true, Fizzy, you and anybody else who's watching. May all your wishes come true. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your families. God bless. Fizzyhead out.